So hello everybody, I think it's now good time to make a start. So it's a couple of minutes past 1. Hopefully everybody's managed to join. So thanks everybody for joining. My name's Joe Barker. I'm responsible for Complete IT for our telephony offering. And today we're going to run for a bit of a presentation on our telephony service, talk to you about some of the features and how it works, and then also give you a live demonstration of the system working on my PC. So just go for a bit of an agenda. So we're going to cover off to start off with what actually is hosted telephony, because there's a lot of acronyms thrown around. So we're going to simplify that and make that really easy and really simple to understand. We're going to give you the overview of the telephony product and just go through it in some more detail. We're going to give you the key features of how it works, some of the things that stand out and why it's good and why it's simple and easy to use. We're going to go through the range of handsets that we offer and talk to you a little bit about each one so you understand the differences between the handsets. And then give a live demonstration of the system on my PC and working. And then we're going to finish off with a questions and answer session. I think Jess touched on it, but if you weren't here at the start, if you do have any questions throughout, if you ask them in the questions panel at the end, we'll cover them all off at the end, just in case we cover them off at a later date on the slide. So to start off with, what is hosted telephony? And I think it's a good place to start because a lot of people do make this quite confusing and use various different words and letters that really have no meaning. We're going to simplify it and simply put telephony hosted in the cloud rather than on site. So traditionally with a phone system, you would have cables run from outside of an office, go into an office, and there would be a box normally covered in cobwebs and dust in the corner of a room. And that box would be quite intelligent, really. That would kind of route the calls out to the phones that were placed on the desk. Well, actually now that box kind of goes. So similar with a lot of IT things that are going on at the moment, box and the need for the box on site goes away. And we pop it into what we call the cloud, which in essence is the internet, and your telephony is stored there. So that's good for loads of reasons. The main reason really for me is from a disaster recovery perspective. If anything was to happen to your office, or actually more common over the last 12 months, if for any reason you couldn't go to the office, you are not reliant on that box in your office because in essence, it's all accessible through the internet. And I'll cover off in a second some of the ways that you can access your telephony, which then might also spring some ideas to your mind. So what are the standout features? The main one for me really is that you can access your phone system in 3 different locations. So as a user, traditionally you go into an office, you'd have a phone on your desk, and that would be where you'd make and receive your telephone calls if you were at work. And actually over the last year, it's become more and more prominent that people need to work from home or maybe don't need to be in the office. So we basically give you your telephony in 3 different locations. So first and foremost, you can have it installed on the desk phone, as the more traditional user would do. And our desk phones work both at home and in the office, because again, all they rely on is the internet. So if you're at home on your internet, it will work. On the left-hand side, you can see there it's accessible on a mobile app, and that's on both iOS and Android. And then on the soft phone is what we call the soft phone is in essence your extension installed on your computer. So you can make and receive your calls through a headset, not have a desk phone, not have a mobile, simply use your soft phone and you can work as if you're in the office. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go through in a bit more detail as to each one, the features of each one, and hopefully give you a bit more of a better understanding of it. So to start off with, and personally this is my favorite way of doing my telecoms, is through the desktop app. So there's an app which when I turn my computer on in the morning, it fires up in the background and in essence logs me into our phone system. And then if you were to ring my number, so if you were to ring my direct dial, that would then ring through to my computer. In my example, it'd also ring my desk phone, and it would also ring my soft phone on my mobile. So that's really good for loads of different reasons. The main reason being really is flexibility of working. So the call will intelligently route itself through to the computer. If I pop out to the shop and grab a sandwich, my mobile app will ring. Or if I happen to pop into the office one day in the week and I want to make and receive calls really quickly through my desk phone, it's there in front of me. So I have them ring all at the same time. And you can have options. So you can say maybe ring the mobile once and then ring to the desktop, or ring the desktop first. And if my phone doesn't answer, so if you find that annoying, you can basically pre-program that. But that's how I have mine set up. The desktop app. So these are some of the features that's included, and I'm just going to talk you through them and how they work. So first things first, is available on both Windows and Mac. Now, not a lot of telephony providers don't have that. So a lot of them say, right, if you've got Windows, great, it will work. Or if you've got Mac, great, it will work, but it won't work across both. You can do conference calling from the phone system, and I'm going to show you a little bit more of that in the live demonstration. You can have a central company contacts list, which would work across your desktop app, your mobile app, and your desk phone. So in the example that you maybe wanted to have a list of your clients put in your phone system, so when your clients ring you can see who's ringing and give them a bit more of a personal touch when you answer the phone. You can do all of that by simply uploading them into the portal. You can have an individual Google contacts list. Now that works as an individual. So if you were to log in to my Gmail, it would pull through my contacts. The system is intelligent enough to only let me have those contacts, and that wouldn't work across the rest of the business. So if I had, for example, my mum and my dad, let's use that as an example, my peers or my team aren't going to see my mum and my dad's number. It's just going to work with my profile. We do also have integration into Outlook, and that looks at your local Outlook file. So if you have your contacts stored in Outlook and you want them to appear on the screen in your phone system, you can do that too. The phone system is all based off drag and drop. So I think back to drag and drop is how I used to drag and drop my files around in my on my computer. Well, now you can drag and drop your calls around. So let's say you're in a call here, you just drag the call, drop it on the person you want it to go to, and you're kind of away. You can transfer calls to people, whether they be working in the home or working from the office. It's got call transfer built into it. Instant messaging built into the phone system. Again, we'll show you all this on the demonstration in a second. It gives you the ability to switch phones. So let's say, for example, I've started a call at my desk and it gets to 1 o'clock and I need to get in the car to drive to a meeting. I can very quickly switch that call from my desktop to my mobile, transfer it across, and the end customer would have no idea that that's gone on. No holding, no beeping, no nothing. It would just simply transfer to my mobile. You can listen to your voicemails, so they will appear in the soft phone, and we've also got voicemail to email, and I'll show you that in a short while. The ability to share files. You can have group chats, so you can message your department. So let's say a call comes through and Joe Barker's called from Complete IT and I need to speak to the customer service team. Instead of messaging the individual, you can message the group, so they all get a message to respond to me. We have integration included in our license with Microsoft Teams. Big talking point at the moment is people want to have one way of communicating and one simplified way of doing their telecoms. Well, we can route our calls through our phone system into Microsoft Teams, so it will display at the end. Covered off the integration with Outlook, integration into the browsers, and also integration into CRMs. And I'm going to touch on them in a little bit more detail in a second. Next up is the mobile app. So the mobile app works on both iOS and Android. In the app, you can kind of manage your voicemails. You can ring out from the app, displaying the office number, which I find really helpful. So let's say for argument's sake, I'm trying to call a client in our Peterborough office. I could very easily go in, tap the More button, select caller ID, and select to present the Peterborough office number, which is really nice. Conference calling management, so you can kind of manage your own conference calls and set up conference calls when you're out and about, or on the move in the car. Say you wanted to set up a conference call and you get out of a meeting, you could do that really quickly from the app. Messaging, again, built into the app, so it will message between app, computer seamlessly, and you can look at your individual call stats in your dashboard down here. So you may see that today you've made 50 calls, and you can have a look at what you've done, all from the mobile app. So conference calling, this is a bit of a snapshot of what it looks like, but you've kind of got the easing use of drag and drop. So let's say I wanted to have a conference call with Alan, Anne, and Mary. All I need to do is tap conference, drag John, drag Anne, and drag Mary into a conference room and tap join. And I'm going to show you that in a second. You can have up to 20 people per instant conference call. which is normally more than enough. I think if you've got over 5 people speaking at the same time, it can get quite painful. So 20 is normally more than enough. You can either pre-schedule your calls or you can create them instantly. I'm going to show you that again in a second. And best of all, each user gets their own conference line. So I'm sure we've all experienced it in our time. You've gone into a conference line that you've got for your business, and maybe somebody else on the call with their client, and you've invited your client along to it. We've experienced it. Don't worry, it's all very, very normal. That goes away. So each user gets their own conference line, so their own PIN number, their own direct dial, everything for themselves. No need to share conferences anymore. You can have as many of them as you like. We include call recording, and this is a kind of a view of the admin portal. So we have inclusive call recording for both inbound and outbound. The minute you put the phone down, you can recover the calls really, really quickly by logging into the portal. And this is a snapshot of what that would look like. So you can see my name, I made the call to here. I could go in here, just really quickly tap play, and I could listen back to that 8-minute call. I then got the ability to download it. So if I needed to use that file really quickly, download it from the portal in the same way that you download a file from Google or from SharePoint, and it would be in there. And it's an unlimited call recording service based on 60-day retention. So it will store for 60 days. Then after 60 days, you can set it up to automatically archive, or it will delete. And you can archive that to maybe a storage location of your choice, whether that be on a file server, on SharePoint, or wherever you want to kind of put your call recordings. So voicemail to email, we kind of touched on earlier. So you can now basically read the content of the voicemail rather than having to listen to the MP3. So let's say, for example, Lewis leaves me a voicemail. It's going to send me an email. I'm going to be able to listen to the MP3 file. Well, not only that, we work with kind of Google and use their translating service. So you can see here, I've got the transcription. So Lewis left me a voicemail saying, "Hi, Joe, it's Lewis." Well, instead of me having to listen to it, I can read it back. You can see the number as well of the person that's rung. So you can just click that number and ring them back straight away. I really like that personally. I think when we first started doing telephony all those years ago, one of the big things for us was kind of retrieving mailboxes and retrieving voicemails, because traditionally in phone systems, voicemails get lost. This way is so much better at managing it, and you can do it all through your email. Of course, you can like forward that on. So let's say Lewis left me a voicemail. I popped that to a meeting. I can forward it back into the office, and somebody can action it straight away. So that's your voicemail to email. So CRM integration out of the box with all of these CRM systems you can see on the screen. I won't run through them one by one, but some of the kind of the big names that you'd expect to see from CRM are in there. In essence, it's basically a simple way of tracking and recording your activity. We use it a lot. So if you were to ring into our help desk or ring into our sales team, HubSpot would pop in the background. It would pop up the customer file. It will give you the ability to make a note on the call and press save. So it will instantly pop up in the background. And that, again, CRM integration is available out of the box. It's not an additional feature that would normally cost you more money. Click to dial. So simply put, instead of typing in numbers into a phone or copy and pasting them or trying to remember them, what happens with ours, I'm going to show you it in a second through Google Chrome. You get a little red dot appear next to the number. All you need to do is tap that red dot. That red dot will then pop up straight into the phone system, and the call will go straight out. So there's no need to keep typing in numbers or trying to remember them. You've got click to dial available through all of these different applications. So the handset range, these are a range of the handsets we offer. I guess you can probably kind of work out the repetitive theme here, and that is Yealink. So we partner with Yealink for our hardware. The reason why we partner with Yealink for our hardware is because we think that they offer the best, most simple to use and most durable hardware there is out there. They offer a lifetime warranty with their phones, so that gives you some kind of indication behind how durable and how I guess the longevity of that they are. This is kind of like the base model phone, which is the T42, and we start at the T42. So there are models below that. The reason why we start at T42 is because on the back of the phone, there is what we call gigabit pass-through. Now, without going into all the bits that will kind of probably bore the life out of you, quite simply put, it basically means you can run a cable from the wall into the back of the phone, and then you can put another cable going out of the back of the phone into your computer. So there's no need to get electricians in and have new network ports installed. You can simply have your phone acting as the middleman. So you've got the T42, that's kind of that's the base model. You can see here people's availability. So if it's green, they're not on the phone, but if it's red, they are on the phone, and it will flash red when it rings. Then you've got the T54W, and this is the phone that most of our clients have got. And the reason why most of our clients have got this phone is because it's got Wi-Fi built into it. So it basically means if you've got a power adapter and you take the phone home, you can connect your phone to your Wi-Fi network, and you can make and receive calls through your desk phone as if you're at work. It's also got Bluetooth built into it. So if you want to connect a Bluetooth headset to your phone, you can do that. That's another option. You've got the T46, very, very similar to the T54. Hasn't got Bluetooth, hasn't got wireless, and it's got a fixed display. There are a few more pixels on the screen, so it looks a little bit clearer, but personally, my preference is the T54. The T58A, again, is the bigger version of this. It's going to have a foldable display, and this one's got touchscreen. The W60P is what we call, is a horrible terminology again, but DeX. In essence, and in normal words, it's a walkabout phone. As you can see, you can disconnect it and walk around like you're on a mobile phone. And then the CP960 is our conference phone. It comes with 2 detachable speakers, placed in the middle of your conference room, and that's going to basically give you the conferencing facility you need, should you need it in the office. So that's the range of the handsets. Now we're going to go on to a bit of a live demonstration. So, give me 2 seconds. So this is our phone system, and this is what we refer to as the soft phone. So all these people on the screen here that you can see, these are what would be deemed to me as internal contacts. So these people work at Complete IT or work at Sharp. So what can you see from the main screen? You can see that Ben Hutchinson is in color. So it basically means he's logged into the phone system, and I can see that he's not on the phone and he's available. And how do you define the differences? And this is what I'm hoping, here we go, I knew someone would be on the phone. How do you define the difference? Quite simply, you can see that Paul is on the phone having a little red dot over his name. Now you can go through, that will obviously automatically kick in when you go into a call, but you can go in and change yours yourself. So you can be available, busy, do not disturb, or away. So for the sake of the demo, I'm going to put myself on do not disturb. And this is a feature that I like quite a lot, because when you're in live calls or live demos and you don't want people ringing you, this is quite cool. So normally you just click do not disturb and it would go on, and 9 times out of 10 people will forget to take themselves off do not disturb. Our phone system has got the ability to pick how long you want to be put on do not disturb for. So let's say you're going into a meeting, and you're going into a meeting for, say, 1 hour. You could go in there, say 1 hour do not disturb, tap OK, and then an hour's time, it's going to take me off do not disturb again. So it's really good if you want to be able to set timers on it. Take myself back off that. Myself available. Cool. So that's the live status, and you can see this is working. I'm working from home today. This is working for me at home. It doesn't matter whether you're at home or in the office. You can see who's available and who's not. And let's say that call had come through for Paul, and I'd taken a call. I could say to his customer, "Look, I'm really sorry, Mr. Customer, but I can see Paul's on the phone. Can I drop him a message and get him to give you a call back?" So you can really quickly see the chat feature there, and I'm going to go through that in a second. So outbound dial-in, how do you make an outbound call? There's a few different ways of doing it. I personally prefer doing the click to dial. So I can go into Google, type in Complete IT Bristol. And earlier on, I referred to the little red dot. You can see the little red dot's appeared next to my number that I want to ring. So I'm going to click that number. It's going to pop itself into our phone system, and straight away, I'm ringing our Bristol office. So you can see 1 click, the phone's ringing. So that's one way of doing it. And that click to dial instance will work through Outlook. It will work through Word. It will work through Excel. It will work through main web browsers too. The next way of doing it is typing in the number of the person you want to ring and tapping call. And that's going to make the outbound call as well. Or you can do calling from the desk phone, and you can just type the number into the desk phone, and that's going to start the call. The key thing is you need to pick where the call is going to start itself from. So let's say you were working in the office and you actually wanted to use your desk phone. Down here, you could select the call to initiate from the desk phone. So let's say I'm in the office and I want to call from my desk phone. I'm going to go in here and ring myself, and you might hear the beep, you might not. But in the background, you might hear my phone ringing. So in essence, I'm ringing myself through my desk phone. You can also choose to go from the soft phone, or you can go from the mobile. So if you're popping out to get a sandwich, or going out to a meeting, you can dial a number. It will ring your mobile. When you answer the phone, it will then put you onto the number you've rang. And that's available across all 3 devices at any time. Up here, you can choose your caller ID. So this is really helpful for us. So we've got offices in different locations. If I wanted to call a client in London, displaying the London number, I could really quickly go down here, select the main complete IT London number, click one-time caller ID, and the next call I make out of my phone system is going to display their number. Sounds like quite a basic feature, but a lot of phone systems, it's quite hard to change your caller ID, and it's not easy to do. Ours, you can just do it in 2 clicks. Put that back on default. The next part is conference calling. So we touched on this in the slides, but what I meant by instant conferencing was that you just tap conference, and that in essence is going to make your conference phone work. Select instant conference, and then I'm just going to drag and drop the people that I want to talk to. So they're my internal people I want to talk to. Let's say I wanted to get somebody as an external contact, so I'm going to go into our central phone book, and let's say I want to have Bob. I can just drag Bob and put him in there too. And then I want to also add a number that I want to copy and paste, or I know myself. So you can see there, 3 internal users, 2 outbound users, all added by drag and drop or simply adding the number. Tap join, and then the phone system will ring them all at the same time. So as far as these people know, it will be me ringing them. So it'll just say Joe Barker appearing on the screen. They'll all answer the call, and then there'll be an instant conference room. Now, I really like that feature. Personally, it was a nightmare for us before when we used to pre-schedule calls. People would either forget to join, is the most common one, or you join and somebody else would be in there. This is creating it instantly, so it doesn't give people the chance to forget. You're just going to drag and drop them in, create conference calls and talk really quickly. And it's something we've used a lot over the last kind of 12 months of working from home. It's been really key for us to be able to communicate in the right way. And this kind of sets off the right image, not only internally, but both externally, because our customers have really enjoyed working with us too through the system. Next part is chat. So we spoke about individual chats. So we've got individual chats here, and you can see that Henry and Paul are both on the phone. And then you've got a group chat in here. So you can see I annoy people by doing it a lot, but I do demos all day. You can create group chats with as many of the internal employees as you like, and you can all talk through here. So that's it, group chat and one-to-one chat. And it does give you the ability to be able to share files and meet, do stuff like that up here too. So you can go up here, share a file, click that, and it's going to be able to send the file through the phone system. Oh, of course, you can send some happy faces. It's going to really confuse Paul. Perfect. Voicemail, so you can listen to your voicemails back in here. So you can go into your soft phone, listen to your voicemails back. My personal preference is to get them from my email, but you can see I don't have any at the moment, which means I'm on top of it. But yeah, you can listen to them in there. You can listen to them on the mobile app. You can listen to them on the desk phone, or you can listen to them through your email. You can have favorites at the bottom. So you can have favorites of people you talk to more often than not. So mine's Henry, Asher, and Alex, but say I wanted to add somebody else. So these are external contacts. So I wanted to add Dan. I can add him, maybe add another internal contact. So let's have Elliot. And in there, you can start to build a bit of your own picture rather than having to scroll through and search people all the time. So the more common ones are people that are based in your team. You can view them in here. One thing I haven't showed you is groups. So you can organize your business via departments. So for us, we've got loads of different ones. But let's say I wanted to go in here and look at the business development team. Rather than go through and search individually, I click on their team and I can see all the pictures of the people that are available in that team, which is quite nice. I'm going to go back to all departments. So contacts, we touched on this, but obviously all contacts would appear here in one view. You can view just your Outlook contacts. Remember, this talks directly to your local Outlook file. So all your contacts will be pulled from whatever's in there. You can look at your CRM contacts. It will pull through all your contacts from any of those CRM systems that we showed you. It will show you your Google contacts, your Google mail list of contacts, and also a central phone book, which works across the whole of the business. So for me, I've got the contact details of our Sharp account managers, and I keep them all in here. So if they ring me, I know who's ringing me. You can have as many in there as you like. So you may have different groups across your business. And then the last thing to show you from the demonstration is the call history. So it's kind of expected, but you can see your missed calls, your received calls, and your dialed calls all recoverable across all your devices at any one time. So that is the end of the demonstration. I think Jess is going to do the questions, if there are any.
Yeah, so if people want to send any questions over, they have now, that would be great. First one in here, can we have a demo that's specific to our business?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, the best way to get them booked is to contact your, in fact, contact us through the link, Jess. Is that the best way of doing it, would you say?
Yeah, I'll send out the recording and an email after this session so that you can share it with your colleagues and things as well. And if you reply to that, and I can put you in contact with Joe and he can get a demo booked in with you. And I think, are you doing face-to-face ones now, Joe, or is it mostly?
Yeah, can do, but most of it's done via webinar because we can do most of it through the screen share like we've just done today.
Brilliant. And the next question is, you mentioned the Teams integration. How does that work?
So in essence, I guess the back end of it, the call would route through our phone system and then would display itself in Microsoft Teams. So the end user wouldn't need to have both pieces of software open. It's basically just deliver the call through the Microsoft Teams GUI on the local machine.
Okay, we actually don't have any questions yet, and I'll take that as a any more questions. I'll take that as a positive because you covered so much detail. Any other questions though, do send them over when I email and I'll get Joe to get back to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.